accept the safety net if it's offered. Not everybody has the luxury of a safety net. If you have the luxury of a safety net, accept it. Don't fight it. Just say, okay, you know what? Thank you. I really don't want to have to use this, but it's good to know that it's there. Hello and welcome to Yes, You Are Brave. This is a podcast where we're going to set off on a journey together to find and build our brave, where we explore all the ways that you have been brave and all the ways that you can be brave again. Because even though we may have forgotten or we may have fallen out of practice, we're all brave. And I'm on a mission to prove it and help you believe that yes, you are brave. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Yes, You Are Brave. I'm Pawnee, I'm your host. Super duper excited. Let's jump in. Let's talk brave. So today I want to, talking a little fast. Today I want to talk about something that sounds weird. And I know I say that a lot, but I feel like sometimes things they just sound weird. So today I want to talk about being brave enough to accept the safety net. What the heck do I mean by accepting a safety net? So story time. I work at a school, a treatment center for girls, for teenage girls. And I had this student who she's going to be 18 soon. And she was really, really worried about a lot of things, right? And one of her biggest fears was ending up having to live with her parents. She didn't want to end up homeless, but then at the same time, she just couldn't fathom the thought of having to go back and live with her parents. There's a whole lot of issues there, but I had this conversation with her one day. It kind of came to me and I was like, you know what? You've got to stop worrying about this. And one of the best things you could do for yourself is to just accept the safety net, because she was so focused on the fact that it might all go wrong and she might end up having to go back and live with her parents, heaven forbid, that she couldn't focus on what she needed to do, what was in front of her, how to not end up there. So we had this conversation. I said, okay, you need to accept the safety net. She's like, what do you mean? I says, accept that, okay, if it all goes wrong, maybe you end up having to go back to your parents. Maybe you have to go stay there for a bit. Maybe you have to accept their help. I said, just tuck it away. It's okay. If everything goes wrong, I'm going to accept that I have this particular safety net. And now you can put your effort into making your plan A happen. So that's what I want to talk about today is what safety net are we fighting that if we just accepted it, then we could put our effort into our plan A or our plan B. Now, I realize that sometimes we don't have safety nets. And that is a whole nother thing. But a lot of times we do have safety nets. We hate the idea of having to use them, right? We hate the idea of having to go back and live with our parents. We hate the idea of having to go back to that job that we absolutely hated. We cannot stand the idea of having to accept help from fill in the blank. You know what your safety net is that you do not want to use. But what would happen if we stopped fighting against that safety net and we just started accept that, okay, it's there? Because here's the thing, you don't have to use the safety nets. I know I'm not an acrobat and I'm not whatever, but my understanding is the idea is that you don't actually need the safety nets, right? We don't need the safety net. We just go do the crazy tricks on the tight wire and we don't actually need the safety net, but it's there in case we do fall. So that is one of those things. I want to explore this just a little bit more. When I was a couple years ago, I was taking a business class and we did this exercise where it was like, what is the worst thing that could happen? So I want to take you through this exercise of what's the worst thing that could happen? So you have your plan A, right? We have our plan A and this thing that we want to happen. So what happens if that doesn't work out? So I start this business and nobody buys my product. Then what? Then I don't make any money. Then if I don't make any money, then I can't pay my bills. If I can't pay my bills, then I have to get another job besides just my business. You go down the line. So I want you to take a few minutes if you've got it today, and I want you to think about what is it that you want? What are you going for? Your plan A. And then I want you to make this go through and figure out all the things that could go wrong. And what happens if you do that, right? What happens if that particular thing happens? So what do you do if it doesn't work out? I remember when I did this, it was like, okay, so if this doesn't work out, then I'm not going to have any money, and then I'm not going to have this, and I'm not going to have that. And if it really gets really bad, then I'm going to have to go back into this field. I'm going to have to get a job, like a regular job, and it's going to have to be in this field probably that I don't love, and all of this stuff. Okay, so my end was like, I'm going to have to go back and teach in a regular school district, be a teacher again, which I don't really want to do. I'm going to end up in special ed because that's where the jobs are, and that's where I could get a job if I were to go back to a regular teaching position. And it was all of these things. Okay, and then what? So if all of those things, if all the bad things happen, give yourself some time and take a minute and figure out, okay, if all these things happen, this doesn't work out, then this will probably happen, and go all the way down till it is the absolute worst you can possibly think of. In the sake of being, completely clear and transparent, at the time when I did this, the worst thing was for me to end up back in my hometown teaching at the local high school, living with my mother. I love my mother, and honestly, that wouldn't be so bad, except she lives in the middle of nowhere and there's nothing to do. So that for me would have been the worst thing ever. But if you do this, and why do this? Why do the whole thing of like, oh, if this is the worst thing that could possibly happen? You do that so you can make a short plan about, okay, what to do if I completely fail. And this ends up in my version at my definition of failure. Okay, what happens then? What do I do? Am I just going to sit there lost, or am I going to do something else? So you make a short plan. Okay, cool. So if I were to have ended up in my hometown, living with my mother, working at one of the local high schools, okay, would not have been my favorite thing. But I also kind of have to take, I had a friend who life didn't go the way she planned, and she actually ended up at home in our hometown, living with her mom, working at one of the local high schools, a local-ish high school. But it's not really where she wanted to be. But she worked till the end of the school year. That's what she did. I think she ended up moving down there December-ish. She got a job. She started the new semester in January at one of the schools. She worked till the end of the year. And then she moved into a place that she wanted to be and things like that. So also the other thing that I told my student that I was talking to, my my client, was that make a plan. When you make this plan, I said, okay, how long are you going to, so you end up there. How long are you going to wallow in that? So you give yourself a week or 2 or maybe 3 to be upset, to be unhappy, to wallow in it, to be unhappy. And then you say, okay, and then what? Now I am going to move. So in this plan of like, okay, so I end up there, and how long am I giving myself to grieve, to wallow before I move forward and push forward and start working on my plan again? And what also the other thing I asked her to consider, what might you have to do before you get back on your feet, or to get back on your feet? Like I said, my friend, she taught at a local high school. It wasn't where she wanted to be, and for me, that was one of the things too, is yes, I have a teaching degree. I could probably teach it. I could teach at any number of schools. Should all of my plans fail, I could probably go back and teach at a school, and I would probably need to be there for a semester to a year. Okay. A semester to a school year. And is it going to be the most fun year? Probably not, but and you can do anything for 6 months to a year, right? So what might you have to do to get back on your feet? Or to live, and that was the other thing too, is like, yeah, maybe you have to go work at Burger King or McDonald's, or, you have to wait tables or work at a car wash or whatever it is. There's no shame in doing those jobs that are not your dream while you build it. That's the other question, is what do you need to do to live while you chase your dreams? So not too long ago, I read the book Quitter by Jon Acuff, and all of the books that I've read by him, honestly, I love. But in Quitter, he talks about keeping your day job basically while you work on your dream job and using your day job to fund your dream job. And I love that idea of, okay, I keep my day job, I keep my blah job, because you have to live. We have to live. We have to have money for food and rent and bills and, right? We can't just, as fun as it would be and as amazing as it would be, we can't just quit everything and pursue our dreams. Most of us cannot do that because we just don't have the funds. We have to have money. We have to work. And so what is it you have to do? What day job are you going to have while you chase your dreams? Okay. And that was one thing. Okay. Yeah. So I have this net. I have this plan. If everything goes wrong and I have to fall into my safety net, how long am I going to be there? What am I going to do to get out of it? And I loved the idea, kind of popped in, of like, okay, yes, let's take some time to actually grieve. And I think, I don't want to make this all about grief or anything, but I think we don't realize sometimes that when we lose a job or we quit a job even, sometimes it's not even just we get fired or anything, sometimes we just lose a job. It can be, we have to grieve that. Something in our life was going one way and now it's different. And there is sometimes a process of grief that we need to go through before we can completely move on. So give yourself that time and accept that there's going to be a process, right? There's going to be a process to grieving. There's going to be a process to moving forward, but also don't let yourself stay there indefinitely. That's the thing I think that is key when we have these setbacks and planning for them, is don't plan to stay in the crappy grieving place forever. Like I said, I told my student, okay, give yourself time to sit and wallow and grieve. 2 weeks of, binge watching TV or whatever it is. And then you start to get back up, get back out there. And so that and also have a time period of, okay, I fell into this safety net. How long now then am I going to need realistically to get back on my feet so that I don't have to be there forever? And like I said, for me, because my safety net would be going back to a profession of traditional teaching, which I don't absolutely love that idea. I don't. It would not be fun for me, but that would be a safety net I could have. It would be, for me, would be 6 months to a year, but it's okay. So give yourself a little bit of a time frame, and then, okay, also we've got to not just accept the safety net, but also accept that your dreams and chasing them and getting, or your goals, it's always going to be a process. There's a process, there's steps, there's things you have to go through. And sometimes doing those things that isn't your dream, that isn't your goal, to get to them, that's to be expected. And that's okay. It's okay to be human. It's okay to not be one of those prodigies that's like, oh, I just pop up and I can do it. And I just decided I was going to do it one day, and the next day, 6 weeks later, I had it all done. And not all of us are like that. And that's okay if you're not. So accept that it's okay, that you're human, and then that's okay. And that it's going to be a process. But the biggest takeaway that I want you to take from today is don't spend your time and energy fighting the safety net. Okay? Accept that there is one. Accept that you may need one. No, it's not our goal. It's not what we want. But accept that there is one. And then move on. Put your energy into your plan A and your plan B. And if it happens that you need your plan G or your plan M, well, there's the safety net. It's there. Also, don't let yourself, please don't catastrophize, okay? When we did the exercise of like, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen? That's just to be prepared. It's not like, oh, this bad thing is going to happen. This is da-da-da-da. So don't catastrophize. Yes, it's possible that you end up needing that safety net to the extreme. It is always possible, but is it very probable? So don't let yourself be defeated before you even start. So don't start catastrophizing and then say, okay, because all these things could go wrong, they're all going to go wrong, and I'm not even going to start. Don't let yourself be defeated before you even start. So what you do with those activities, those exercises of like, okay, all of these things could go wrong. And I have a small plan, a contingency plan for all of these things. And it's okay if they do happen. It's just to be like, okay, if they come, if this does happen, I can handle it. Because you are so much more capable than you realize. So when somebody offers you that safety net, you say, well, you know what? This is what I'm planning. If I need it, I would really appreciate that. You say thank you, and then you just use it as motivation to make whatever it is you're trying to do work. Now, this could be dreams. This could be all kinds of things. So, like I said, this was kind of coming from one of my students who's going to be 18, going to be an adult soon, and having to do all those things. But it's so many things that this can apply to. So whatever your dreams are, whatever your goals are, accept the safety net if it's offered. Not everybody has the luxury of a safety net. If you have the luxury of a safety net, accept it. Don't fight it. Just say, okay, you know what? Thank you. I really don't want to have to use this, but it's good to know that it's there. Yes, we'd all rather stay on the tightrope up at the top instead of falling into the safety net, but it's there for a reason. Accept it. Let it be there. Let it be, okay, I really don't want that to happen, so I'm going to do all the work so that I'm strong enough and I have all the skills that I need to stay on the tightrope. So that is what I have for you this week. Please be brave. Realize that you can be. Accept things. Accept the possibility that, maybe I need a safety net. If you don't, that's fantastic. But there's no shame in needing it. There's no shame in things not turning out the way that you wanted. Sometimes we work really, really hard, and sometimes we even do everything right, and it still doesn't work out. But that doesn't mean that we should stop trying. It doesn't mean there's any shame in it. Having to go spend a couple of months at your mom's house, or having to take that job that you swore you'd never go back to. It's okay. You've got this. Make a plan. Accept the safety net. Make a plan. And then go chase your dreams. Go find a way to make that happen. Because you're totally worth it. You're amazing. You're wonderful. You've got this. Life is beautiful and life is amazing, and so are you. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed what you've heard today, please leave a review down below and share this with anyone that you feel like could use a little more brave in their life. And if you'd like to follow more of my journey to be brave, you can follow me on social media and link down below. Have a fantastic day, and don't forget to be brave.